Hello, welcome to another edition of the Front Row Roundtable Show presented by Ralphie's. Glad to have you along with us. Joining me this week, Tim Edmond from Rossford Athletics. You've coached and
done it all.
AD and the whole bit. If we went through the whole resume,
it would take a long time.
Right.
Long time.
Same way with Marty Bin. Fairway Mortgage.
The resume is really short. It's like I was playing for a one-year deal to renegotiate after spending my entire career somewhere. So knock it off.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just saying.
Sorry.
You know, everybody's got that one-year deal where they don't get where they want, so they try something out and prove themselves, and then they get a better deal.
So I want that 10-year deal where I get fired in the first year and they have to pay the other 9 off.
We were talking about this before the show. We are not going to talk about that because Japanese pitchers will come up and I'll be angry.
Save it for next segment.
Okay.
It's a whole other thing.
Yes.
All right. Steering it back on the road.
My job is to try and get us in the weeds.
Yeah. Right. And you do a damn good job.
Oh, thank you. That's what I'm here for.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the fight last Saturday night. Robert Easter came home with quite a bit of cash, but did not come home with his IBF lightweight belts. It's not the end of the world. By any stretch of the imagination, it's not the end of the world.
Agreed. So I would ask you, because you're the resident fight guru fan of this group, did you see anything that surprised you though?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really, because I watched Mikey Garcia fight a number of times. Yeah, I tried to explain this before. I don't know if I did it on this show or not, but there's champions and there's great champions. And you know how sometimes there's 4 champions in a weight division, and that's not to take anything away who's a champion, but there are some guys that are on a different level. There's a handful of guys that are on a different level. He's one of them. Mikey Garcia is one of them. And I expressed that to somebody in the camp before the fight.
So to draw a football analogy,
to stay away from Mikey Garcia, but you wanted to get paid.
Well, I was going to say for fight fans or non-fight fans, which I think a lot of people aren't anymore. So you're saying it's a difference between, say, Tom Brady and Matt Statfiller.
You could look at it that way, sure. I'm
just trying to translate for those that aren't fight fans, because I agree with you.
Although Statfiller does not have a championship. Maybe Joe Flacco.
Okay, there you go. There's Brady and Flacco.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess I know you've talked about this to degrees that I don't understand, and yet I didn't find anything surprising either. So I was wondering your take on that, because
with all being said, though, I thought Easter showed a lot of heart in the fight.
Yeah.
Could have packed it in, never did. Did his best to try to work the outside and do those things. I was watching the fight, the first couple of rounds, I could tell that Garcia was just trying to laying back, working on his timing, just trying to absorb it all, and once he stepped it up, then what happened. But the big picture of this whole thing is that Mikey Garcia is probably going to jump 2 weight classes from 135 to 147 to get a big, because he's just looking for big fights.
Right.
All right. So I'm not sure if he's even going to defend those 2 lightweight belts or not. And I think Easter's got all kinds of options. I think he could stay at 135, get more title shots, because I think those belts are going to open back up, or at 140, which I think he could easily handle because of his height. That's division's wide open too, because Terrence Crawford, who's another one of those guys, that's a special type of guy, just moved up to 147 and had unified all 4 of them belts, and then they all became vacant, and they're starting to fill them now. So I think he's got a lot of options moving forward, and 1 loss at age 27 is not the end of the world by any means.
I mean, he's going to get other opportunities. He's going to get a chance to fight, and like you said, if he gets a shot at the belt again, it's not the end of it. He's not 37, and now where are we going to go? He's got plenty of
The
time.
talent at 147 is just ridiculous. It's really, really, really good.
Well, there are some really great possible fights there.
Oh.
And if it wasn't for promoters, there'd be great fights on the card already.
Right.
And Garcia is so fearless that he's going to jump up 2 weight classes and try to beat one of them, and he won't go in as the favorite. And as good as he is, so he didn't lose. Robert Easter didn't lose to an average guy.
Right.
I just want to put that across that that's the case. All right. One other thing I wanted to talk about in this segment was LeBron James and how much of a terrible guy he is for what he's done in Akron, and I say that with all sarcasm.
You're going to have to explain to me the haters, because I
don't get it.
I
really don't. I
cannot
don't
figure
get it.
that. Okay, so yes, he left Cleveland. Oh boy, he also is spending a ton of money in his hometown. He's done nothing but great things there. And if basketball wasn't a part of it, he was in any other industry, no one would give a rat's keister about any of this. But we're going to hate on somebody because of some perceived slight, despite doing all these it's inexcusable. If you're a hater, you need to check it at the door, because there's something wrong with you.
And being in education, look at what he's doing with this school. All lunches, all breakfast, snacks included. Okay, it's not like it's the s'mores, but that's a key. These kids are going to get an education. They're going to get food that maybe they can't get somewhere else. Don't know. I don't know who's going to be in the school exactly. But the thing is, he's addressing all the needs that a kid has to have at that level to try to get on the right path, to do the right thing, and make their dreams come true. And if you're going to hate on that, then you're looking for something.
Has he made a gazillion dollars? Sure. But you tell me the list of athletes that have done anything like this.
Correct.
In all due respect to Michael Jordan, I don't see where he ever did anything like this.
It's a short
that's
list. It's a short
always
list.
the comparison
It's a short
that I
list.
make.
And Jordan's not on it.
Everybody gets excited when the pro athlete opens up a restaurant, something like that to go through. He hasn't opened up a restaurant. He opened up a school.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you argue if you don't like him, if you can't stand him? I mean, there are athletes I can't stand. They're opening a school. I'm not going to say, they opened a school.
When you talk about the meals, too, and we're probably going to go a little long in this segment, but when you talk about the meals, it reminds me of a friend of mine who runs a place where they do give meals to kids and that, especially during the summer. And she told me that there's a girl, she's about 11 years old, and it's got like 3 siblings that I don't know where the parents are at. Gets them up every morning, gets them dressed, and brings them in before school starts to come in and get that meal that they probably wouldn't get.
Exactly.
And we don't, we're not in touch with that, most of us, I don't think.
Right.
No.
And in what he has said, he grew up in that neighborhood. He knows what's there. He knows what's needed, and that's needed. And that's not wrong. That can't be wrong. If anything, it's those who question him, that should stop the questioning a little bit.
A little?
I
think you're being nice.
That's being- okay.
I mean, you can holler about his basketball decisions, you can do anything else, but to talk about his character with respect to this or question his motives or whatever, to me is somewhere between inexcusable and downright wrong. I mean, I put it way over, and you know me, I like to look at both sides of almost anything. To me, this is as lay down and support him for doing this as you can have. And I don't care if you hate him or like him. It's inexcusable to criticize this.
Right.
If he's guilty of anything, it's being a little clunky in front of the media. I mean,
He's always been that way.
That's the way he is.
He doesn't always say the politically correct thing,
Correct.
and he's
fine.
he's a little clunky sometimes
Right.
when it comes to that. But I still believe you got to look at what somebody does more.
I would agree.
What they say. All right, we went well over. We'll take a time out. We'll come back and we'll talk a little baseball. We had the trading deadline. I think Marty's got a rant somewhere before we're done. And we'll be back. It's the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's.
Matthews Ford Oregon is the dealership that makes a difference because we now offer guaranteed credit approval. We know what's on paper doesn't always reflect the person in front of us. That's why we work with over 40 lending institutions every day to help find solutions, and in some cases, we've been able to help folks looking at pre-owned vehicles drive away in a brand new one. Remember, we're here to help, not to judge. Ride on our reputation as the name that has been trusted since 1952.
That's the Matthews way.
Hey, Mortgage Marty here from Fairway Mortgage. New office is open at 5577 Monroe Street in the Promenade Shops. And those of you that watch know how competitive I am, so here's my challenge. The large national company you always see at every sporting event from up north who has that Rocket app that I hate, we have a competing app called the Fairway Now app. And the best part of the Fairway Now app is you get actually somebody local to help you after you use it. So log in, try it. It's on Facebook, on Twitter. You can find us, the Fairway Now app. Have a great night.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good, no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer, a shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Red Wing Shoes, a quality built to last, just like the legacy of service at your Red Wing Shoes dealer, North Reynolds at Bancroft in Toledo. Family owned and operated since 1982. 4 generations building a legacy of quality and service for years to come. Our sales staff has over 95 years selling and servicing Red Wing shoe products, and we have the largest selection of Red Wing shoes in Northwest Ohio. Irish Setter, Works, and our USA-made heritage shoes. In stock, no waiting. Red Wing Shoes, North Reynolds at Bancroft, where service, quality, and fit come first.
All right, welcome back for our Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. Talk a little baseball. All right, we just got past the trade deadline as we're taping this, at least the non-waiver trade deadline. As you remember, Justin Verlander went in August last year. So trades can still happen. Guys just have to get run through waivers. Right. All right. Tigers and Indians made a deal.
I saw that.
A little interesting, not a huge one, but made a little bit of a deal.
Not what I expected the Indians to do. The position was, but not the player. It was interesting. That trade was interesting.
A lot of last minute deals going on. Does it concern you for Cleveland and their chances in the playoffs that a lot of those deals, most of them weren't them?
I was surprised. I was surprised they didn't go out and get something they needed, which would be an Andrew Jones, which would be another arm in the rotation that was top notch. I was surprised with that. But I don't think the American League did all that much. I think the National League was on the move.
Because I think most of the races in the AL are settled.
Right.
There's only one race left, and it's really the second wild card between Seattle and Oakland.
Right.
Because Cleveland's going to win their division. Houston's going to win their division, unless something really terrible happens.
The only thing, unless they're going to be in the unless their locker room falls apart because of the trade they made.
Well, that's a whole
different story.
We could spend an entire show.
But anyway, there's 5 slots.
Right.
Yankees are going to be in. Red Sox are going to be in. Cleveland's going to be in. Houston's going to be in. And the last, spot really is Oakland and Seattle.
Right.
But hey, we can go there because they dealt for Asuna from Toronto, who was suspended due to domestic violence.
And he's going to be. And it may not be over, and that trial's ongoing, so there may be more coming out. So it was a gamble on many fronts. What's amazing to me about the way we approach these situations, though, is, am I wrong that Chapman was involved in very similar things not that long ago, and when he was being?
I don't know if it was.
I think there was accusations, but I don't think it ever went to court or any police. There were accusations.
Well, let's cut to the chase here.
That's when the Reds traded him, was during that time period.
Let's cut to the chase here.
Yeah.
The guy was suspended for 75 games. Shouldn't he be able to play after 75 games?
But I was under the impression that suspension is still going on. And if I read it right,
no, it's about ready to end.
It's all but over.
The bigger question I had is, how can a guy who's suspended get traded?
Well, it doesn't
isn't he
void his contract.
but shouldn't he be not avoided, but I don't know how to say it.
He's
Wouldn't
still
he
on
be
the
frozen
team.
where he is?
No, he's still on the team.
That's what I couldn't figure out. But even so, this goes back to what we talked about a few weeks ago with why he was suspended. Verlander's talked about it. If you watch what A.J. Hinch has said, he isn't glowing to get him right now. And it isn't because of his abilities. He's not sure what that locker room is going to look like. There's some very outspoken people there that aren't overly thrilled.
Who's going to come out and say, "Oh, I'm happy about it"?
Right.
Glad to have him on the team.
I mean, the reality is this, and it's kind of the other side of the sports argument, and I like playing that voice. When he comes out and comes out and shuts down two high-powered offenses late in a playoff game, no one. I mean, it will be an afterthought, and the locker room will be just fine. He comes out and walks two guys and gives up a 3-run shot, and the whole place will mutiny, and it will have nothing to do with the actual issue. It'll have to do with the background story of why we are predisposed to hating him, anyways.
Right.
He comes out and is successful. Everyone will give him a hall pass, and if he's not, and that proves your point about it's about how they play on the field. It's not all these other things.
Should the sport be judge, jury, and executioner anyway?
No.
I mean,
haven't thought that.
if nobody thinks he should be back, then why isn't he permanently banned or kicked out of the game?
Well, if
he's not, and the suspension's over,
it's over.
If you serve your jail time and you come out, you're free. It's over.
And if you don't do it anymore, and you follow the rules when you get out, there's an opportunity.
The owner, his name is escaping me right now. Their owner has said everybody gets a second chance.
It doesn't mean anybody's endorsing what he did.
Right.
I mean, Dante Stallworth played a long time after.
Yes, he did.
I mean, all I'm saying is I think ultimately this decision will get judged not on what he did, but how he performs after that. If he comes out and lays an egg, everyone will say it was the wrong decision. And if he comes out and successful, everyone will say, well, look, they took a chance and it worked out. I mean, it's just amazing to me how that hindsight will look in the mirror.
Johnny Manziel just got his first start in the CFL.
Please, Browns fans, do not blow up my phone again. And Tebow fans, leave me alone for 1 week. I need 1 week off on a Saturday night. Please, I got it.
I'm just saying.
Neither of them are NFL quarterbacks. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I think that's pretty apparent.
Correct, but the only difference between me and them is I know that and they don't.
That's a good point.
And a lot of their fans
didn't necessarily want to transition to that.
But if you want to look at baseball, this is what I think with baseball, Dodgers just put themselves into the World
Dozier,
Series.
Machado, I was just going to mention that, yeah.
Oh, they've elevated. They've elevated.
I think the Brewers did some things to help themselves out.
I think all the trades over there, I thought
the point
Reds,
I was making actually was, as we tape this, I don't think they're out of the three divisions, nobody has more than a 1-game lead.
Right.
So everybody is bunched. Everybody thinks they got a shot. Pittsburgh did
that's what I was going to say.
180. Too. Just a total 180.
Please explain to me the logic behind
deal
that.
off Garrett Cole.
But you've got him now for 3 to 4 years. That contract's good till 2021. They have control of Archer now. And if they make a little bit...
Yeah, but you just traded 2 of your best prospects.
Which I agree. But you've given yourself... If I'm a Pittsburgh fan, at least I'm going, we're still trying. The Reds trade Duvall.
It seems knee-jerkish to me. It seems like, oh no, we're sellers. Oh wait a minute. Well, we won a few games. I don't know. I can't.
Well, see, I think the Reds for the first time, and I can't remember how long, made a great trade. Duvall is a good pop. He has strength. Going to Atlanta, they need it. But what they got back, Whistler, I think is how I pronounce it. He's going to be a closer, and Preston Tucker is a 5-tool player. That is a great I didn't see a trade that looked so lopsided that I'm thinking, what are you doing? I thought they were very good trades in the National League.
Except maybe the Archer deal. It's a lot of prospect to give up in a deal like that.
To end up with a starting pitcher when you got rid of a starting pitcher.
Yeah, I know. That's
the net there is 0 to give up 2 prospects. I mean, net they.
But you've got it proven. Those 2 prospects could still end up doing nothing, and you've got a pitcher that you know is good.
All right, when we come back, the biggest loser out of this day, and what that Indians Tigers trade means. We'll talk about that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. It's the Front Row Roundtable show here on NBC 24.
Matthews Ford Oregon is the dealership that makes a difference because we now offer guaranteed credit approval. We know what's on paper doesn't always reflect the person in front of us. That's why we work with over 40 lending institutions every day to help find solutions, and in some cases, we've been able to help folks looking at pre-owned vehicles drive away in a brand new one. Remember, we're here to help, not to judge. Ride on our reputation as the name that has been trusted since 1952.
That's the Matthews way.
Hey, Mortgage Marty here from Fairway Mortgage. New office is open at 5577 Monroe Street in the Promenade Shops. And those of you that watch know how competitive I am, so here's my challenge. The large national company you always see at every sporting event from up north who has that Rocket app that I hate, we have a competing app called the Fairway Now app. And the best part of the Fairway Now app is you get actually somebody local to help you after you use it. So log in, try it. It's on Facebook, on Twitter. You can find us, the Fairway Now app. Have a great night.
Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good no matter what your taste. It's that good. Come early, stay late. Burgers and beer, a shot of cheer. Great food and fun. It's that good here. Bring yourself to Ralphie's. Yeah, it's that good.
Howard Arm Wrestling is back in action in Toledo on Sunday, August the 26th at 5 p.m. at St. Clemens Hall, 2990 Tremainsville. PBW World Champion, the Bachelor Ben Boone, defends the belt against Unchained Brandon Day. You'll also see Righteous Indignation and the Circus of Pain battle for the tag team titles. Get your advanced discount tickets now at pbwexcitement.com. It's the best wrestlers in the Midwest, Sunday, August the 26th in Toledo at St. Clemens Hall. And back we are on the Front Row Roundtable show presented by Ralphie's. Norm Waymer, Tim Edmond, Marty Ben. The biggest loser, we were talking about the trade deadline. Biggest loser, I think, is Washington, the Nationals.
Not renting out Harper for 6 months?
If you want a lesson on how to begin to dismantle a franchise,
They've done, yes.
Don't make a deal, miss the playoffs, and have Harper just walk away at the end of the season as a free agent and get nothing for him.
Correct.
Get
And
nothing
get
for him.
absolutely nothing for him.
That's exactly the blueprint if you want to start dismantling a franchise.
Well, they're saying we're still in this.
Oh, he said, the GM said, dumber than that, he said, I like this team.
Yes.
Well, after they floated that he's available and they didn't like what they were getting back, then the GM comes out and says, we're not trading him and I still believe in this team.
Well, his words too were, we're not
So
going
you're
to
saying that guy could be the press secretary in the White House, is what you're saying. I'm just
not
throwing
going
out there.
there.
Come on,
I'm not going
it's
there.
fun.
But yeah, I thought for sure he was going to be gone. It was where? Who was going to give what for him? He was going somewhere. He's going to be in the playoffs.
I think there was a short list of people that they would have traded him for, and when nobody would give that short list to rent him for 2 months, then things evaporated.
Yeah.
Because I think they believed they could have got a top prospect for a 2-month rental.
I'm sure they wanted multiple top prospects for him.
Right, but I think there was a list there of people they absolutely wanted, or it was no joy.
Yeah. And that I think they were asking.
Who's the Indians
Probably
pitcher?
way too much.
See, who's the Indians pitcher? I'll forget the name.
That what?
The prospect pitcher of the Indians. That was
Bieber?
Yes, Bieber.
Okay.
Yes, it was on. I've heard.
Well, they're a little short in the rotation. I saw a 538 article actually that said the top level teams had the least amount of top prospects up in their organization. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Than ever. Only like 27% of their prospects were in the upper tier.
But yeah,
So
They've already raided the kitchen.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
cupboard's bare because they've all got their. They've got their hand. They're ready to.
But that means it's eventually going to flip.
right.
It's eventually. And speaking of, it's going to flip.
Go ahead.
Tigers and the Indians in their deal.
Okay.
Okay, because I just to show you that not all dreams come true, Castellanos is still with the Tigers.
Yeah. He was mentioned in some rumors. Mentioned.
But
Here's the thing, though. No matter what day of the week it is, if you're a fan of this show, someday in the future, Norman's going to scream out in joy, and you'll be able to hear it all about the land. They'll be celebrating when Castellanos is no longer a Tiger, because Norm will be that loud that you'll hear it all over Northwest Ohio.
Yep.
he's a 26-year-old designated hitter, for God's sakes. I'm just saying.
Continue on.
Well, there's
You're not going to rant on him if I'm not going to rant on Japanese pitchers. So we're not doing it tonight. Not tonight.
But we
Well,
brought
we
it
got
up
3
twice.
minutes, so that's probably not
Okay.
going to happen.
Well, I just what I was trying to figure out is I'm listening to the
He's gonna
Cubs.
do it anyway.
No, I was listening to the Cubs talk about after the Darvish deal and what have they gotten out of that deal?
I'm not going to finish.
All right, go ahead. Let's do yours. I'll save mine for another
Nothing
time.
yet. Nothing. They've got nothing
All right,
out of it yet.
your deal. Tigers,
Nothing out of it yet.
Tigers, Indians.
Well, I run into a lot of Tiger fans, and some are friends, and some are on social media that are all, they're all upset about the rebuild. Patience. Because I like actually what Al Avila is doing. It's not to say it's going to be a home run every time they make a deal, because it's not.
Right.
It's not to say that all the prospects are going to pan out. They're not. But as you continue to accumulate talent, your odds of guys making it get better.
Right.
News came out that Franklin Perez, who was the top pitching prospect that they got in the Verlander deal, has a bad shoulder and is out the rest of the year now. And we'll, cross our fingers that there's no surgery there. But the player that they got is a shortstop. He's in Double-A, 21 years old, switch hitter, pretty good glove. And that I mentioned about their lack of middle infield prospects.
Correct.
A guy that they got from the Cubs in that deal last year, Isaac Paredes, just got called up to Double-A. He's been playing shortstop. He's 19. He's 19 in Double-A.
So they're building the foundation right now.
You remember the last 19-year-olds that get called up from Double-A for the Tigers? Whitaker and Tramplin.
Oh.
When you're that young and you're that close, you are so far ahead of everybody else.
Right.
And his bat's going real well. But you look at what they got in the upper minors, arm-wise, Franklin Perez aside, Casey Mize, who they just took the first pick of the draft, Matt Manning, Alex Faedo, who they took the year before as the first pitcher in the draft, Bo Burrows, the list goes on. Kristen Stewart's about ready to come up at some point. Daz Cameron, who they got in the Verlander deal, is now in Double-A in center field and looks like a five-tool guy. The catcher they got in that deal is in Double-A. So all these guys are starting to come. And you'll start seeing some of them next year. You probably won't see very many of them this year. Patience.
It takes a few years.
Patience.
And I know you're a Tigers fan, I'm a Reds fan. That's why I like the trade that they made. They're filling the needs now. We're getting closer. We're past the last 2 years. Maybe we'll get to stay at 500, but we're ready to start making that next move.
All right, got to run Power Arm Wrestling at 2 a.m. Can't stay up to watch it, DVR it, or catch it online. Marty, thank you. We'll have to put some time for the Japanese pitcher thing next time. Tim, thank you very much. We'll see you next time here on the Front Row Roundtable Show presented by Ralphie's.